Welcome back to the 80s at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. The name Cavender has been selling and servicing automobiles in the San Antonio area since 1939, and today is recognized as one of the leading automotive retail groups in Texas. We're honored today to have Rob Cavender, Chief Operating Officer and fourth generation of the Cavender family, and Colby Joyner, Vice President of Marketing and Strategy. Rob and Colby, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks for having us, Ted.
Yeah, thanks, Ted.
I am seeing a lot happening, Rob, at the Cavender Auto Group. Congratulations to you. And for those who don't know, Rob, kind of, give us the backstory. The company has and family has amazing longevity in retail automotive. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned earlier, the Cavender Auto Group was founded in 1939 by my great-grandfather. It was a Oldsmobile dealership in downtown San Antonio when we started, and has certainly grown since. After my great-grandfather passed it down to my grandfather and his twin brother, we actually split the business. So there's the Cavender Auto Group, which is our side of the family, and the Cavender Auto family, which is our cousins, both here in San Antonio and Texas and abroad, actually, at this point. But yeah, so we're in our fourth generation at this point. It's me and my two cousins who are involved from the executive level at this point. I'm running as Chief Operating Officer. My cousin WB is our Chief Customer Officer, and my cousin Lee is our Chief People Officer. So we decided to kind of restructure how we were looking at the business. The generation above was my dad and his two cousins, or his two brothers, and they were really kind of operating as GMs over single points. And when we kind of started looking at the business, we realized that there was different culture in each store. There was a different strategy in each store, and different personnel and structure. And it was really because we had different operators in each location. And so with me and my cousins, what we decided would be best for the business as we're growing and looking into the future is trying to create a standardized culture across the entire organization to help us grow and implement, quicker. So we went away from the kind of, overseeing certain OEMs to picking our different levels within leadership in general, and finding ways for us to impact the stores, but still having that holistic, look at the business.
And Rob, if you don't mind, tell us what franchises Cavender represents today in 2023.
Sure. Yeah. So we've got 8 stores in San Antonio, San Marcos, and Rockwall at this point, all around Texas. We've got 2 Buick GMC points, a Cadillac point, Chevrolet, Jaguar, Land Rover, Ford, and 2 Nissan points.
Great. And, I had heard the name Colby Joyner, prior to Cavender. Rob, tell us how that came about and what's Colby's role at the company.
Sure. So Colby recently came to the team about 6 months ago as our Vice President of Marketing and Strategy. He came, we kind of linked up over LinkedIn, actually. I've been following Colby for years and his success in retail, on the dealership side and in the vendor side, and just really believed in what his vision was for the business moving forward, believed in his values, his, thought process behind the business, and he's very forward thinking. So we had an opportunity to have lunch about 7 months ago, and just tried to reel him in at that point, and luckily was able to. So he's brought a whole different thought, provoking process to our team, a whole different marketing strategy for our group, and we're super happy he's a part of the team.
Super. Welcome, Colby. And does that strategy include both variable and is fixed operations a part of that as well?
Yes, yeah, it does. And I think it's kind of funny, now that we've worked together long enough. I think he's very kind in his words, and definitely still learning how far off my brain can go at certain points, being able to just, sometimes it's a squirrel moment, but most of the time it's pretty good.
Well, great timing for both of you. A lot happening in our industry right now. Colby, I got to ask you, a lot of customers, almost every customer today is interacting with a device, all right, with that phone in their hands. Rob mentioned, linking up on LinkedIn. Okay. I can't imagine if there was no LinkedIn, right?
Sure.
Talk to us a little bit about that, Colby, because I imagine that's a huge part of your strategy and the social media as well going forward.
Absolutely. I mean, the strategy on everything is to not Um, for lack of better terms, and I know this is, fixed ops roundtable. Fixed ops has kind of been the redheaded stepchild in a lot of ways when it came to the progression of digital, the progression of anything. And I've said it more time and time again, so I'm not afraid to say it again. Like automotive is a little antiquated when it comes to technology, maybe not within the vehicles, but within the way that we serve our customers, our communication styles, the tech stacks that we use internally. And fixed ops, unfortunately, has kind of been behind that, behind what the variable side is doing. So, our strategy looking forward is really utilizing, future thinking technology, communication platforms, advertising platforms on both sides of the fence. We don't, we're not going to just be, hey, we're just doing and looking at variable. We're looking at fixed. How can we leverage that and build that up? Especially with EVs and everything coming about, we have to figure out how are we going to be transitioning fixed ops. What could we be including into the fixed operations now? Items that we haven't even thought about that we can include in terms of, servicing a vehicle. A Tesla, you change the tires and the windshield wiper and the fluid, and that's about it, right? So as we move forward, we have to think about what kind of techs we're going to have, what kind of options are we going to have from our service department. How are we going to leverage that? How are we going to maintain and retain customers and be able to create that life cycle of a customer within our organization? So our whole platform and strategy is how do we leverage both ends and look at this as just Cavender Auto Group versus here's a Cavender variable department and here's a Cavender fixed department.
I love it. Rob, it was 4 years ago this month we did the first fixed ops roundtable in my office in Manhattan, and I was hesitant, Rob, about doing the meeting because I wasn't sure if anybody would show up. But I invited about 15 or 20 people, and they all came, and that was our very first one. And now today, this is our 20th event, and now it's not a one-day meeting; it's 4 days long. And I'm amazed, Rob, at the number of things that have worked their way into fixed. Colby mentioned EVs. EVs are involved.
Sure.
Also, not only the people and the processes, you got the technology, but you've also got different bits and pieces selling F&I products are now in the fixed ops roundtable. So I'm amazed at how this continues to grow. Rob, I got to ask you, what do you see for the next 3 to 5 years future in terms of fixed ops? How's that going to kind of play out? Is that can continue to grow? Will that focus continue to, be on what's happening in service and parts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a light bulb is going to go off when I say that, people are focusing heavily on fixed ops right now. I think there's a little bit of uncertainty in the variable side. So anybody who's planning for the future knows that the stability is going to be in fixed ops. So we're really leveraging this opportunity to invest in our people and invest in standardization for our group in fixed operations. We recently signed up with Chris Collins to do some fixed coaching for our group. As much as Cavender is a brand and we feel like it's standardized. When we had him come in for the first time, we quickly realized that every one of our service departments has a little bit of a unique, different process, right? And I think moving forward, it has to be completely standardized and complete focus on customer experience and convenience. So we're utilizing this opportunity to standardize our processes from the meet and greet through the customer connections, through how we present our maintenance menus, to standardize it across the group so we can move managers from department to department, advisors from department to department, and know that wherever a customer goes, if it's a Jaguar or a Nissan customer, they're going to get the same experience. And I think that's going to be kind of the differentiator moving forward. And then convenience is the other big part of that. I mean, people who aren't investing in pickup and delivery, mobile service, the things that customers want to make the experience more convenient are going to get behind the eight ball. Ford at our Ford store, mobile service is a huge part of our business now, and we've got a pretty fleet heavy operation at our store. And so, the people that text me, I can't believe that I had an oil change done in my driveway. It's amazing how many texts I get every week with that, and that's those are going to be the game changers that people want moving forward. And convenience is more valuable than money to people a lot these days. So I think focusing on customer experience, focusing on convenience, and then standardizing your processes across your group is what's going to make fixed ops better, and fixed ops is going to carry our business for the next 3 to 5 years.
And Rob, from what I hear on the mobile service side from friends like Ed Roberts at Bozard Ford Lincoln, who are in the mobile game in a big way, that those customers who are getting that work done in their driveway are going to expect that now, and they're going to want that again, which is a good sign. But that convenience, like you just said, is going to become a bigger and bigger piece of the pie.
100%.
Colby, another word that has worked its way into fixed ops in the last 2 years is the word transparency. We saw that happen in F&I on the variable side a few years ago, and transparency worked its way in. And now we're hearing that all over fixed ops. Are you transparent? Are we transparent with the customer on the website? Are we transparent in our communication? Has that entered into your equation yet at Cavender Auto Group? Because I have a feeling that it will.
We haven't satisfied the equation, but it is in the equation. Absolutely. Transparency is key, and transparency is, a little bit of a buzzword. But I agree. We have to be transparent. Video MPIs, or being able to send videos over to the customer to showcase what the tech is doing. That technology has been out, and there's been a lot of dealerships using it. Being transparent about pricing is huge. There's a lot of people that go to different places because pricing is so high and it's so expensive to do certain things, but leveraging the why behind, why we're servicing the customer here at our service department is key. Making sure that they're highly educated in the fact that there's a reason why you should take your Land Rover to Land Rover to get the oil change. There's a reason why you need to take your Nissan if the AC's out to Nissan, because there may be some additional items and things that we can look at to help you out. You're going to get your car looked at by a Nissan certified technician, or a Jaguar certified technician. These people know the cars in and out. You're not taking, and I'm not trying to be negative towards any other companies, but you're not taking it to a Take 10 or a Jeffrey's Lube kind of thing. You're taking it back to the dealer that has a relationship with you. That advisor and that tech have probably been there for a while. I remember my dad, he had a 94 Suburban, and he had, before he left the city that we grew up in, he had the same service advisor for 20 years. Yeah. It was the same person. There was a situation which I'd love to get back to in terms of how we treat customers. There was a situation where my mom had to go take the Suburban in. She couldn't, they had to drop it off. There was something wrong with it. She had to get somewhere else. They didn't have loaner cars. The service advisor, who had just bought a brand new 2500 Chevy truck, brand new, like a day old, tossed her the keys and said, "Take this, take my car." And she took the car, drove it, picked me and my brother up, and did whatever. I'd love to have that confidence when you take it to the service department that they're really and truly going to take care of you, and it's not going to be where they're trying to get one over on you. And I think that being transparent, having confidence in the dealer, the convenience of all the services that we can provide are key. All of that, I think, encompasses the transparency item.
Love it. You've got some great people too. We met on the roundtable this week. Rob, we've met Allie, your fixed ops director. She's done a wonderful job. She's on a big panel that we just had on the roundtable. We also had a chance to meet two of your two female technicians from your dealership. Rob, let me tell you, that is a rarity, but you want to know something? You've obviously got some focus there, and if you'd like to talk about it, but in women in retail, because there has not been a whole, as you know, historically, our industry has been very male dominated. Mm-hmm. Is there a strategy, or is that part of your strategy to include women and diversity and so on, and inclusion and so forth?
Sure. It's much more strategy moving forward. Any poll you look at, any research would tell you that there is a extra level of confidence and trust in women when it comes to retail profession. And this industry as a whole has had a stigma that it's only for males. It's a dominant force that has to be in this business. But I've found that some of our top performers in sales, service, Allie, our technicians have been female operators. And we'd love to diversify this industry more. We'd love to diversify this organization more, because frankly, they've been our top performers. So it's a focus of ours moving forward from the recruiting side. My cousin Lee, who's our CPO, Chief People Officer, that's a big initiative of his. And Eric, who you've talked to on this, or will be talking to on this roundtable as well. He had a huge focus on women in automotive at Henson Brand before he got to Cavender. So it's a big part of our play moving forward.
I've also heard the phrase, and I mentioned this to you in the green room before we got started, confidence is Cavender. I've seen that in a number of things, Rob. Can you speak to that and tell us a little bit about what the meaning is behind that?
Sure. I don't know if confidence as Cavender has ever really been defined. It's almost been more of an intangible for our customers, right? I think if you ask my dad and my grandfather, they would say confidence is the customer is going to be treated fairly every time. They can be confident they're dealing with somebody who's going to take care of them, confident that we're going to go above and beyond, confident that we're giving them the best price up front. And that's kind of what confidence has been for the San Antonio community for a long time. But since Colby and I and Eric have all kind of partnered up, we've talked a lot about really defining confidence and what it really means. Because honestly, there's a lot of people moving to San Antonio and to Texas in general who don't know what confidence as Cavender means. So soon to be announced, we have 5 pillars that we're kind of establishing as what confidence as Cavender means. And it'll kind of be our USP for the group of the different attributes within confidence that make you understand what it really is and what's unique about Cavender.
I love it. Last question for today, gentlemen. I'll come to Colby first, and then I'll ask Rob to bring it home. Sure. Here we are in the middle of May, looking out over 20 to 2023. Your peers are watching today, fellow dealers, general managers, VPs. We have service managers, fixed ops directors, service advisors, technicians, the whole gamut. Colby, if you had to give any advice to your peers who are watching today, what they should be aware of or thinking out loud, what they need to do or look at for the next 6 to 6.5 months for the rest of this year, Colby, what would you say? And then I'll come to Rob to bring it home.
I'll keep it kind of 30,000 foot.
Okay.
I would say that you have to be very aware of the journey of your customer. You have to be very intuitively aware of the journey of your customer to the point of run through it yourself. Understand from variable to fixed to back to variable and all the steps in between. Understand truly, map it out. I'm a big whiteboard guy. Got huge whiteboards in my office. Map it out. Where does a customer go? Who do they talk to? How's that line of communication between each steps? Once you have that mapped out, then you're able to see the deficiencies in the journey. And then those are your first action items. Go attack those action items. You'd be surprised what one tweak can do to your entire process. But you cannot understand what that tweak is until you understand the journey.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Colby. Rob, same question. Bring it home. What should our peers be looking at for the next 6.5 months this year?
I'd say, the market has changed a ton, right? In the last couple of years, 19 and then COVID hits, and we're kind of back in pre-COVID, times right now. But the business is really quickly changing, and you can't get stuck in kind of old habits. And, even deciding, well, is this a COVID strategy or is this a pre-COVID strategy? We're post-COVID now, and the business is very, very different. So don't let your instincts go back to what you were used to doing before. Digital's changed this business. Look at it from the customer's perspective, as Colby said, and do what the customer would want, right? I mean, we're having to find ways to differentiate ourselves from our competition, from the non-OEM brands. And so find those unique opportunities where you can make the customer experience better, and don't fall back on stuff that worked for us years in the past.
Love it. Great to have you both. Very inspiring, gentlemen. Colby Joyner, Vice President of Marketing and Strategy. Rob Cavender, Chief Operating Officer. On behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, gentlemen, thank you for being with us today. And we look forward to seeing great things and having you come back again and give us an update. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Ted.
Everybody. Rob Cavender and Colby Joyner from the Cavender Auto Group here today, back at the 80s at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.